You're listening to Big World Network.
Average, Episode 2, written by Jonathan Thompson, read by Heather Thompson. Understandably, I was uneasy about running off into the night, masked and looking for trouble. I don't know, maybe I was a weird kid. As I pulled on my ski mask, I asked, "Dad, can't we just keep experimenting here, at home, without going out in public?" Nope, that's not getting us anywhere. Besides, I've been thinking about it, and I'm pretty sure we have to put you in a real-world, high-stress, hero-type situation. Dad had already transformed into Ultrarian by donning the simple eye mask that made him look like a giant, muscular cartoon raccoon. His skin-tight red and yellow suit was yet to come. "Why?" I whined. "Because that's when people discover their powers, in intense situations. Have you learned nothing from all those comics?" I mulled this over for a minute. His logic was solid. I couldn't argue with him, so I did the only sensible thing. I ignored it. "Is that how you discovered your powers?" I asked. "Nope. I just sorta stumbled on 'em." "Of course you did," I said, annoyed. Even in the limited course of my short life up to that point, I had been tortured by seeing how easily everything came to my father. George Ultrarian Pierce was powerful, charismatic, and well-loved even when he wasn't being a superhero. I, however, his son, Quentin Average Pierce, was socially and physically awkward, and the coolest thing I could do was some crazy pin-spinning tricks I learned on the internet. Not exactly the sort of thing that wins the fight against injustice and earns you undying admiration. "Hey," Dad said defensively, "what kid doesn't try to fly? And you let a toddler walk around for a few minutes, you'll find out how durable he is. It'll take half the time if he's a flying toddler. Found my strength and speed pretty much the same way. Just playing around." "What about some of the other ones, like X-ray vision?" "Well, that one I didn't find till high school." He trailed off evasively. I thought about this for a moment, grew both envious and disgusted, and decided not to dwell. "Besides," continued my dad, "I try not to use that one too much. I knew this guy, Tom. That was his only power, and he used it way too much. Developed brain cancer." "Brain cancer?" I asked. "From using his power?" Every super had a downside, but they were generally much less severe than brain cancer. "Well, yeah, he had all that radiation bouncing around in his head every time he used it. There's a reason doctors all book it from the room when they give you x-rays. He even tried wearing a lead hat, but not only did that do nothing, it gave him pretty severe neck pain." "How about your laser vision?" My father's voice lit up excitedly. "I have laser vision?" I paused. "I thought you did, don't you?" "I don't know, let me check." My father focused his eyes on a spot on my bare bedroom wall. I could see the effort and confusion on his face as he rooted around in his head. I imagine he was thinking the same thing I was. Exactly how does one fire lasers out of their eyes? But then he did it. 2 thin red beams shot out of his eyes and burned a pinpoint hole in my wall. As soon as the laser emerged, my big invincible defender of justice father started screaming like a little girl. "It burns! How do I shut it off? Shut it off!" He swung his head around wildly, slicing my room to shreds and sending me diving for cover. "Close your eyes!" I yelled from the hall, pressing up against the wood paneling. The laser stopped. "Okay, they're closed," Dad said cautiously. "Do you think that shut it off?" "Holy gophers, that hurt. I can't tell if it worked. My eyes still burn." "Open your eyes again and check," I said. A beam accompanied by a stereotypical shroom noise plowed through the doorway, passing my head. Nope, didn't work. "Just undo what you did," I shouted. "I don't know how eye lasers work." I tried to figure it out, though. I don't know why it took me so long to question such a common feature of comics. Is it a special gland? You would need a completely different set of ocular lenses than most people, not to mention an internal light source and lasing medium. Or maybe his eyes had a system of mirrors that could reflect and concentrate outside light. But we were inside, at night, and that wouldn't produce a true laser anyway. Maybe these are the sorts of things you're better off just accepting. Right, I'll just undo my lasers. I peeked around the door jamb and saw my dad making the same strange, introspective face. My room was trashed, and I shook my head at the carnage. "Okay, I think I got it," I'm gonna open my eyes. I ducked back behind the wall and waited. Nothing happened. I think we're good! My dad's voice started out celebratory but trailed off as he looked around my room. I guess I owe you a bunch of new stuff, don't I? Yep. Fine, he said with a huff, but you're still coming out with me tonight. I straightened my mask and followed him out the door, silently trying to prepare myself for the embarrassing and potentially life-threatening night that lay ahead of me. Standing in our small backyard in an outfit that in no way matched my dad's, which he was now wearing in its full spandex entirety, I wondered if this is how other normal sons felt when their dads took them out for their first drive or took them hunting. Why couldn't you just be into hunting or something? I asked. Dad was already warming up by juggling the mower. Well, that wouldn't be very fair to the deer, especially now that I can do this, he said, blasting a hole in a nearby tree with his newfound eye lasers. Man, those things are awesome. All right, you ready? Let's get out of here, Dad said excitedly. I looked reluctantly around at our neighbors' homes. It was late, so I knew no one would see us, but I kind of wanted them to. I begged in that moment for something absolutely crazy to come along and get me out of this. But nothing crazy ever happened here, except that Ultrarian used it as his secret lair. Batman had the Batcave, Superman the Fortress of Solitude, and Ultrarian had Putnam County, New York. But like all good super lairs, nothing ever actually required his attention here. Most of his work took him 60 miles south into New York City, but I wasn't ready for that. No, tonight, for just the right level of danger in a controlled environment, we were headed outside of his usual stomping ground to northern Westchester County. Looking back on it now, I wish I could have seen just how ridiculous I looked as my father hugged me close and flew us off into the night sky. I wonder if ski masks can look miserable.
Visit BigWorldNetwork.com for more E-Series samples, or sign up for a $3 a month subscription for full access to all written and audio E-Series content, accessible from the website, mobile, or e-reader devices. Thanks for listening.
Music by Kevin MacLeod.
You're listening to Big World Network.